Good morning, folks. Still a bacteria math instructor. Today, I'm going to review Module 3. And so I'll put problems on the whiteboard, give you a few minutes to try it, and then with your help, we'll do it together on the whiteboard and complete the work. So, how's everybody doing today?
Doing good.
What?
How are you?
Let's do some work. And so I want you to ask me questions while I'm doing these problems, okay? So like I said, I have set up problems. I'm going to write on the board one at a time. And we'll do the review. So it's mod 3 review. And let's look at these problems. F of x is 3x minus 2. A second function g of x is given as negative x plus 3. And I'm going to ask you to find me this operation. All right, so you try it. I'll give you a couple of minutes. It shouldn't take that long to do this problem. And then with your help, we'll do it on the whiteboard. Go ahead, you try first, please. One quick question. What operation is it asking you to do?
Multiplication.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and multiply these two functions. So please remember your assignments for mod 3. Everything in mod 3, including practice mod 3 test and mod 3 test, needs to be completed by 21st of this month, okay? 11:59 p.m. All right, so tell me what I should do here, please.
We're going to multiply the x minus 2 times the negative x plus 3.
Correct. So make sure you put both of them in the parentheses. And now you multiply it. So your first step is to distribute the 3x. That would be negative 3x squared plus 9x. The second step is to distribute the negative 2. So that would be plus 2x minus 6. And then you combine the like terms, which are those two. And that is your final answer. Any questions?
Nope.
Great. Let's look at the next one. Again, f of x is given as 3 over x plus 2. Our second function is given 5 over 3x. And now I'm asking you to do this operation. Go ahead, you try it first, please. So what is this little circle called? What kind of operation? What is this called?
Was it composite?
Exactly. So you're doing f composite g of x. All right, so can you tell me what I need to do, please? I'll tell you the first step is f evaluated at g of x. Now you tell me the rest. Can you?
I think it is 3 over, in parentheses, 5 over 3x, in parentheses.
And then plus 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we did is we replaced the g of x with its value, which is 5 over 3x. And now what this means is that we replace the x's in f of x with 5 over 3x. So that would be 3 over 5 over 3x plus 2. And now we have to simplify this fraction. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it again. 3 over 1, 5 over 3x plus 2 over 1. And one method of simplifying is by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the LCD. And that is what?
X.
Correct, 3x. So 3x times 3 is 9x. 3x times 2 is 6x. And 3x times 5 over 3x, the 3x's will cancel out, and that will just leave you with a 5. And this fraction is not reducible. That should be your final answer. Any questions?
Let me.
Aren't you able to separate the 6x and the 5 in two separate fractions and then simplify it from there?
No, you can't. The only way you could simplify is if you have one term in the denominator. Then you can do this as 9x over 6x plus 5 over 6x. You can't split that into two if you have two terms in the denominator. No, you can't do that. So if you wrote that as 9x over 6x plus 9x over 5, that would be wrong. The only time you can split it is just one term in the bottom. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I was a little confused.
That's okay. Always ask questions, folks. It doesn't bother me. So let's squeeze in another problem right here next to it. Find the domain. And I'm going to give you two different functions, okay? I'll give you that one. And I will also give you this function. Find domain of these two functions. Let's say A, B. All right, you try it first, please. So remember that this one is a polynomial function. And remember this is a rational function. And so you know how to do the domain of a polynomial and of a rational, okay? Okay, so can you tell me what our domain is for the polynomial function?
Negative infinity to
All real
positive
numbers.
infinity.
All real numbers, negative infinity to positive infinity. Very good. Now, how about the domain for rational? How do you do the domain for rationals?
It can't equal 0.
What do you equal to 0? What's that?
The denominator cannot end up being 0.
Correct. So we need to find out what x values will make the denominator 0. And it factors into x plus 1, x plus 3. And if you solve these x's, one is negative 1, the other one's negative 3. So you would write domain is all real numbers except negative 3 and negative 1. And that should be in the interval notation. Like that. Any questions?
Nope.
Good.
All right, let's look at the next problem. Okay, so this is graph of a certain function, f of x. And so I want you to do a couple of things in here. One is to do the domain range. Then is to tell me what is f of 2. And then give me the x-intercept and the y-intercept. All right. So this is the part where we did analyzing the graphs, okay? Where you extract all the information from the graph. So remember, domain is to read the x values from left to right, okay? Range is to read the y values going up. So would you be able to tell me what the domain is if you're reading this way?
All real numbers?
Exactly. Because this arrow goes to negative infinity, and this arrow, as it goes down, it's going to the right to positive infinity. So it's all real numbers. Please make sure you write it in interval notation. And then what about your range? You going
Y is greater than or equal to 5.
greater than or
Sorry, less than. I'm sorry.
less than? So can you tell me what the interval notation for that is?
Would it be negative infinity to positive 5? Yeah, positive 5. And then the U thing,
No,
the closed parentheses.
yeah, that should be a bracket.
Oh, bracket. Sorry. And then the like,
Solid point, right?
yeah, and then the U thing in between them.
You
And
don't need a
then,
U thing. That's it. This is
oh, okay. I'm sorry.
done. So it's starting from down here, which is negative infinity, and the highest it goes up. This is the highest y value on the graph, which is 5. So it stops at 5, and because the point is solid, you put a bracket there. All right, so now f of 2, what does that mean? That means find the y when x is what? 2, right? So what is that? What is that y value when x is 2?
The y value would be 5.
That's it. So f of 2 is equal to 5. You're looking at that point. X-intercept is where the graph intersects the x-axis. What point is that?
6 comma 0.
Correct. 6 comma 0. And y-intercept is the point where graph intersects the y-axis. What point is that?
0, 3.
0 and 3. Good. Any questions on this?
I mean,
Okay. Next problem. I'll give you this relationship here between x and y. Find me the domain, the list of domain here, values, the list of range values here, and then also answer, is this relation a function? And so you're going to tell me why or why not, okay? Give me the reason. So here's your 3 steps: domain, range, and then answer this question. Is this a function? Okay. Can you tell me what the list of domain is, please?
2, 3, -1, 4, and 10.
Great. What about the range?
-1, 3, and 6.
Great. So 3 is repeated. You don't have to repeat it when you're writing the list. It's also here. Okay, so 3 is repeated multiple times. You just have to list that one time. That's it. All right, now, is this relation a function?
I think it is a function because there's not two domains that have different answers. So
There is no two ordered pairs, right?
yeah,
With what? Same first coordinate. Is that what you meant?
yes,
Yes. Because see, 2 is only attached to a 3. 3 is to a -1. -1 to a 3, 4 to a 6, 10 to a 3. So there is no 1x that will be connected to different y values. Okay, so yes, this is a function. Any questions on these two problems?
Nope.
All right,
no,
great. Let's look at this next one here. I'll be able to squeeze it in. F of x is equal to x cubed minus 3 over 2x squared minus 4. Find f of -2. Go ahead, try that, please. So how do you do this problem? What is it asking you to do?
Plug the -2 in for x.
Correct. Replace all x's with -2, and please make sure that you put that in parentheses. So then if I simplify the top, I'm going to do the exponents first, which is -2 cubed, that's -8. Bottom, I do this exponents first again, so it's -2 squares 4. Top is just simple subtraction, -8 minus 3. Bottom, you multiply first. So then it comes out to a -11 over 4. And it's not reducible. That's your final answer. You don't have to change this into mix, okay? You can leave it as improper. Any questions on that?
No.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Use the graph of y equals f of x equals x squared to graph y equals f of x plus 1 minus 2. And obviously you are going to use all the transformations, okay? So start with the x squared. And then you can do all the steps of transformations to get to the final graph. Okay, so I'm giving you a couple of minutes. You try it first. So if I were to graph x squared, when x is 0, y is 0. When x is 1, y is 1. When x is -1, y is 1. And so that's a parabola. Just like that. Now, your first step, I'm going to do this in round x plus 1. What kind of transformation is this?
1 to the
Adding,
left.
exactly. If you're adding 1 to the x, it goes to the left. So take each one of these points that you have here, move it 1 unit to the left. So that one goes here. all of these will shift 1 unit to the left. This one is to the left. This one is 1 unit to the left, and that one is 1 unit to the left. See, so these are your new points. And then you just draw the parabola. And then the -2 is what we're going to do it in red. What transformation is that?
Down 2.
Down to. Very good, folks. Good job. So take these points, each one, move it down to. See, so now your new points are these. So one is at 0, -1. The other one is at -1 and -2. And then the third one is at -2 and -1. And again, it is a parabola. Okay, and that is your final graph. F of x plus 1 minus the 2. Any questions?
I,
No.
Okay, so let's do this next one. I'm going to just write it right next to it. F of x is 3x over x minus 4. G of x is 3 over x plus 2. And I'm asking you to find the domain of f plus g of x. Okay, so here I would write this as 3x over x minus 4 plus 3 over x plus 2. Now, you can just leave it like this or add the two fractions. So let's go ahead and add it. An easy way to do this is you multiply the two fractions. Pay attention to this. And then you cross multiply. So you do 3x times x plus 2 plus, because you're adding, and then 3 times x minus 4. So that's 3x squared plus 6x plus 3x minus 12. Do not multiply the denominator, okay? Just leave them as factors. So then it comes out to 3x squared plus 9x minus 12 over x minus 4, x plus 2. Okay, so this is just sum. Now, can you do the domain from here? You've done it. We did a domain problem like this before, remember? So you
I
keep,
think-
go ahead, I'm listening.
All right, never mind.
Go ahead, go ahead.
The answer for the domain is 4 and -2.
Correct, you can't have those two. So x cannot equal -2 and x cannot equal 4. So you have to write it negative infinity to -2 union with -2 to 4 union with 4 to infinity. So it's all real numbers except those two. So I didn't have to really do all that stuff. I could have gotten my answers from right here. X cannot equal 4, x cannot equal 2, and then write it out. But I just wanted us to practice on how to add two rational expressions. Any questions on these two problems?
No.
All right, please let me know. So let's go on to the next. Now, as you know, these are being recorded, these live sessions. So if you're reading, reviewing, and you do come up with questions, please email me. So let's say your f of x is x minus 4. I want you to find inverse of that function. Go ahead. You try it first, please. Okay, so can you help me with this one? What are the steps? What would you do?
So first, you would write y is equal to the square root of x minus 4.
Very good. Next.
Then you would switch the y and the x.
Next.
And then you would solve for y.
Correct.
And you would do that.
So solving for y is to first square both sides. And then add 4, correct?
I think so.
And that is your inverse function. But with the square roots and the x squares, you got to be careful with your domain and the range, okay? So this is what I'm going to try to explain this to you. So if I were to graph, pay attention to this, folks. If I were to graph the square root of x minus 4, it would be a graph that would go up that way. So for this, my domain is from 4 to infinity. My range is from 0 to infinity. Okay, so domain goes that way. So starting at 4, it's going to infinity. Range starts from bottom going up. So it starts at this point, which is its y value is 0, and it goes up also. So then when you are writing the domain and the range of the inverse functions, these are interchanged. So what happens is now the domain here will be 0 to infinity, and the range here will be what? From 4 to infinity. Okay, see, because if you graph that x squared plus 4, you only want to graph this part of the parabola. You don't want to do the entire parabola because that's what the domain is. The domain says it's only greater than 0 goes to infinity. Range says it's from 4 to infinity. Okay, so you do not graph the second part of that parabola because you have to match it with the domain. So that's the graph of the square root, that's the graph of the x squared. And look, if I drew that y equals x line in here, remember we talked about the symmetry. That's your f of x, that's your inverse. See, they look symmetrical with the y equals x line. Okay. So you have to pay attention to when you're doing the x squared and the square roots to the domain and the range. Okay, let's look at the next problem. F of x is equal to x squared minus 2x. G of x is 2x squared minus 3. Find G composite F of 2. You try first, please. So remember, check the order, okay? It's not always F composite G. Now it's G composite F. So make sure you read the problem carefully. Okay, so this says g of f of 2. So there's two ways of doing this problem. You can probably do, you can do this if you want to. G of f of x, get that expression, and then in here, replace x with 2. Okay, so that's one way to do that. Or you can also do it this way. Go ahead and first find out what f of 2 is. So we'll go ahead and put 2 in here. 2 squared minus 2 times 2, and that equals 0. So then second, I'll do g of 0. It's a little easier than going through that step. Okay, so do what's that inner function is asking you to do, which is f of 2. So you go ahead and plug these x's with a 2, comes out to a 0, and then replace it with a 0. So now you are doing g of 0. So now you would replace the x of g with a 0. And your answer will be negative. Okay? Do you all understand this?
Yeah, that's the way I did it.
Yeah, I understand it.
Very good. All right, so let's go on and do the next one. Solve. Let's do an absolute value equation now. 7x plus 2 is equal to absolute of x minus 4. Okay, you try this first, please. All right, so can you folks help me with this one?
We're gonna need two equations where 7x plus 2 equals plus or minus x minus 4.
Very good. So let's do the minus. Or 7x plus 2 equals what? 7,
Actually, I'm sorry, I have a question actually.
yes.
So is it always gonna be the one on the right side?
Doesn't matter. You can put plus or minus on either side you want, but make sure one of your absolute is isolated. Yes.
Okay.
So 1/4 is one of the answers. And the other answer will be negative. Any questions?
Nope.
No, not here.
Okay, let's do this next one. F of x is negative 2x plus 4. Evaluate and simplify. F of x plus h minus f of x over h. Okay, we've got a few minutes. You try it first. Okay. So let's do the first part in, say, this color. How do I do that?
It is -2 times x plus h plus 4.
Plus 4. Very good. Then you've got minus. Let's do this part in blue. So what do I replace this with?
In parentheses,
Um,
negative 2x plus 4.
Aha, just like that.
No, it'd be in parentheses, so you
Very
have to
good.
get to
In
distribute
parentheses.
that as negative.
Very good. Very good. And then you're going to divide this by an h. So this is the part they call evaluate. Now let's simplify. Now remember what I said with simplifying. You have to remove that h that's in the denominator, okay? So let's work out the numerator. Remove the parentheses. And so you can combine those two equals 0. You can combine those two equals 0. What is left on the top is negative 2h only. H in the bottom. Now you can cancel those h's out. See, so it is done. We are done with simplifying, and our final result is negative 2. Any questions on that one? So make sure when you are replacing f of x with this function, you put that in the parentheses, okay, right here. Otherwise, you are not going to distribute that -1 properly, and it's going to come out to the wrong answer. Any questions on this?
Nope.
no.
Okay, let's look at, I can do one more right next to this. F of x is 3x minus 9. Your second function is 5x minus 6. Find this operation. It's very simple, but there's a thing that some students make a mistake and they don't put these in parentheses. Okay, so again, see when you're subtracting, definitely you want to put that second one in parentheses because you are distributing the -1 here. Remove the parentheses. And combine the like terms. And that would be your final answer. Okay. And one last problem is this one, find the inverse of this function. So go ahead, try it. We've done this in your notes. You should be able to do this, folks. All right, so I've got 2 minutes to do this problem. Let's change that to a y. And then let's interchange the variables, just like one of those inverse problems that we have done earlier. And then I will cross multiply here. Remove the parentheses. Subtract the 5x. And then divide both sides by 3x. So that is your y. And this would be your inverse function. Any questions?
Nope.
All right, folks, got a minute left. You all have a great day.
You too.
Again, stay safe.
Have a good weekend.
I already sent out an invitation. We'll meet again on Tuesday, the 23rd at 9:30 a.m. And that's when we'll start our Mod 4. Okay, so please make sure you complete all of your assignments in Mod 3 by the 21st, this coming Sunday.
All
Thank
right,
you,
have a
folks.
good weekend.
Thank you all for attending the meeting.
Hi, thank you.